So I was looking through the comments, Kev,
Yep.
and I saw right up here that we have some people out there that are interested in No Man's Sky. Yep. And I think No Man's Sky is truly interesting, but what I think is more interesting is the studio itself, Hello Games. So let's get into that. Actually started by 4 dudes. The 4 dudes are Sean Murray, Grant Duncan, Ryan Doyle, and David Ream. Yes, I wrote on a cheat sheet. I have a cheat sheet. Spoilers. Yep. You're seeing behind the Iron Curtain right now. I know, it's amazing. Anyway, so those 2 dudes, the 4 dudes, the main guy that everyone like talks about in season, like film and things like that, film, TV.
We were talking about him.
Sean Murray.
Sean Murray? We were
Exactly.
talking about him. They were calling him the not English bearded hipster.
Yeah, he actually has a bit of an Australian accent in there too, which he's like, it just makes me sound really confused.
Yes.
Actually seems like a super chill guy.
Yeah.
And so big thing about them, they were working at, I don't know the studio, Kuju Games? Kuju?
I don't know.
They were involved in making Geometry Wars and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
But he was also a heavy influencer in probably the most fun car racing game that I ever played when he was at Criterion. Do you know the game? Burnout 3.
Oh.
Burnout 3 is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so he was heavily involved in that. And so he just decided to leave and he's like, okay guys, let's go indie. So he convinced his buddies to go with him and they founded Hello Games in 2009. So this was around the time when Braid was coming out.
Yeah.
So indie games weren't really big hitters, you know what I mean? Like XBLA was just rolling out in the PSN and stuff, so it was all fairly fresh. So for him to do something like that was pretty wild. And then literally just the 4 guys out in 2010, they then released Joe Danger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, massive critical success, and people love the game. It's kind of an Excitebike clone.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of fun. Then in 2012, they moved on, and they then produced Joe Danger 2, the sequel. I believe it was called Joe Danger 2, the movie. And in that time, they were actually, so then the 4 guys were kind of off in a corner, and they were making a secret project that they called Project Skyscraper, because that was going to be like their pie in the sky, kind of
reach in the sky. Yeah.
Exactly. So they called it Project Skyscraper. Jeez, I'm having trouble with words today.
Project Skyscraper.
Honestly, I'm so excited to tell this one. It's such a cool story. So then what happened was, so they were working on this, and then around 2013. Jeff Keighley, have you heard of him? You know this guy?
I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, so the video game awards and things like that. So anyway, so he was over in their studio and they had like it all like boarded off and everything, and he's like, what are you guys doing over there? And they're like, oh, can't talk about that. So he's like, oh, I want to talk about that. How about you do up a trailer and bring it to the VGAs? And they're like, okay. So Sean Murray, he did up a little trailer, you know, his whole team, showed it to all his friends, and all but one of the friends were like, dude, that's not ready to be shown. So he's like, oh crap, okay, how about we don't show that? And Jeff's like, man, I had to pull a lot of strings to do this, let's do it, it'll be awesome. So he's like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna do it. So he got convinced into doing it, and in 2013 the trailer dropped for that and people went ballistic. I don't know if you remember it, but like as soon as it hit, it was trending on Twitter and people were freaking out. They're like, what is No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? And he actually, they originally had from the makers of Joe Danger. He's like, no, don't put that in there. Like,
don't associate yourself with that.
I think he's really proud of the game, but he doesn't want people to think, okay, they made an Excitebike clone, now they're trying to make like an entire universe?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's a little ambitious, for sure. Not crapping on Joe Danger, because it is a fantastic game. You should really play it if you haven't. It's quite a bit of fun. Anyway, so he gets big success, goes back there, and like Tim Schafer's congratulating him, and like all these big wigs in the industry are like, awesome job, dude. Great. So he's super pumped, and they're going in. They're on their little winter break, and then over Christmas, they go back to their studio to find that they had a massive flood, and literally everything they worked on was gone.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Sad
so they literally just went dark. And you didn't hear anything from them for a couple years. And then they came out at E3 in, what was it, 2014 or something?
Yeah, I think so. It wasn't too long after.
It was a little while, like 2014 or 2015 maybe, for E3, and then some PlayStation Experience stuff. But yeah, so now they're coming back and they're making No Man's Sky, and people are very excited. But honestly, from the way Sean's talking about the game, it makes me think that he's like, I don't know, maybe he's just hating it because he's working on it all the time. And I hear that like designers like tend to hate their games towards the end. They're like, it just sucks, just get it out there. Like,
well, you definitely lose track of like the fun in the game.
Yeah.
You know, just staring at something that intensely for that long.
Yeah, because he's like, well, it's just a concept now. Now I just have to make a game out of it. It's like, well, that's not very assuring, but maybe he's just being a little self-deprecating when he say that. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to No Man's Sky, and I'm thoroughly intrigued by the story behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Interesting little story.
the more you know.
Can we do that like whole animation thing?
No, I'm not gonna put time into that.